Okay, this week we're looking at a few different variations of exercises that will improve the spine and the core's capability of resisting extension forces, which will come in very handy when you have a barbell on your back, i.e. back squatting or even deadlifting. It's well known that we need to keep our chest up and hold a neutral spine, but sometimes that's taken too far, and with weakness in the core, the lumbar spine will overextend, and this can do just as much damage as going into flexion. So we want to have a good amount of strength in the core to resist these forces, and that's what these exercises provide. So the setup here is to hold the forearms parallel, don't let the elbows point out, slightly flex the spine and brace the inner unit of the core and the upper abdominals. So to begin each rep, you take a big diaphragmatic breath and create intra-abdominal pressure with a breath hold and a tight squeeze through the entire core. And then you're attempting to end in a position where the upper arm and the upper leg have the same angle in relation to the spine at that position where I'm holding there. So next up, we're going to have a look at a couple of plank variations. The one thing I will say about the plank is I don't like the plank being done just purely for time. Number one, when you're doing the plank, it's all about holding optimal body position, and when it just becomes about time, that really does seem to fall by the wayside. When we're doing these movements, we really want to hold optimal body positioning, and that would be, sort of like a military up tall type stance that we take into these positions. The hips should not drop below the line of the shoulder and the ankle at any time. If anything, it's going to hold slightly above, elbows below the shoulder, with the forearms running parallel, not the elbows pointing out. I like the weight on the back purely because most heavy sets that we're doing are only going to last 40 to 70 seconds max, so we want to put load onto the spine so that you're not going over that time. Here's another variation. So it's not that the plank is inherently bad, it's just I'd be looking for variations of it to make it harder to keep your time under tension of an entire set under that 70-second mark, so you're building up the strength and the bracing capabilities to match the length of the sets you're doing. Not really necessary to go over that, because like I said earlier, when you're back squatting or deadlifting, those sets aren't going over that 40 to 70 second mark. So match the time under tension to those heavy sets, and make sure the challenge is according. So here's a side plank, which I often start clients on just to teach them alignment. Here we want both heels, both back of the knees, both glutes, both shoulders, a slight tuck of the pelvis so that the back is held flat and the core is activated. The head's on the wall, the shoulders are touching. The elbow is directly underneath the shoulder, so we don't load the shoulder unnecessarily. Both glutes are tight, the quads are tight. We want to make sure that we feel a lot of load in that oblique area on my right hand side there, the lower side, and just basically just trying to get the whole body involved to create that tightness. Once the tightness is created in that optimal postural positioning, that's when we can come off the wall and start progressing the exercise and challenging it further. Alright guys, good luck with it all. Cheers.